Hello everyone and welcome back to the Blue Collar DM, the channel dedicated to breaking down barriers for new players and dungeon masters alike. My name is Howard as always, and today we're going to be breaking down the Cleric class in Dungeons & Dragons, the spellcasting class that draws its power from the fealty it shows to its deity in order to grant them different powers like spellcasting and some other things as well. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so we're talking clerics today. So clerics basically are just priests or religious acolytes who draw their power from the fealty and the relationship that they have with their given god or pantheon of gods within the Dungeons & Dragons universe. So basically these gods then grant them powers because of their worship, whether it be in the form of spellcasting or some other different powers, which we'll get into. To basically do this justice, we're going to actually go over the computer and we're going to go over a first level character sheet like we've done with some of the other classes, just so that way our first time players will have a good idea what that first level character sheet looks like, and so that way they can also take that character sheet with them so they can step to the table and actually know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about and they know what goes into that character. Also, at the end of the video, we're actually going to get off the computer and we're going to actually go over the rest of the progression for the cleric class all the way up to level 20. We're not going to go every single domain in the player's handbook just because there's so many of them. We're going to go over one because we do have to pick a domain at first level, which we'll get into. But we're going to go over one. We're not going to go over all of them. If you want to look at the rest of them, the player's handbook is a great resource. I got mine right here. But like I said, player's handbook's got the rest of them. And also, by the way, if you like what you're seeing so far, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you can see more videos like this of me breaking down different character classes, talking about combat, magic, whatever the case may be in Dungeons & Dragons, so that way you can learn as much as you can, so that way you are really well prepared when you sit down at that table. Also, if you like this video, hit the like button. It helps a lot. It lets me know that I'm doing what you want me to do, and it lets me know that I'm giving you the stuff that you guys need. Without any further ado, let's go over to the computer and let's break down the cleric. Alright guys, so now that we're over here at the computer, we can go over that character sheet. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up the character sheet here. Character sheet. So right here we have our character name, Gerard the Pious. Pious kind of relates to that religion stuff. So we got a cleric 1 for first level and human as our race. Again, for all those +1s that we've done before, just because it makes it easier. That way we don't have to figure out, like, you know, some of the weird race traits that kind of like, you know, add things over here in this area. I don't want to have any confusion again like usual. So over here everything's going to be +1 to all of these, so we are using the standard array again, which is of course that 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8 distributed amongst these stats, and then we're adding 1 to all of them because we are a human. Again, I have put them in advantageous areas. So we have our 16, which was the 15, our 16 in wisdom. We've got the 15 up in strength because we want to hit things really hard. We got a good constitution so we can have a good amount of hit points. We got a decent dexterity. And then we have a net -1 to intelligence. We're not the smartest priest, I guess. And then we're average charisma here at 11 for a ability score modifier of 0. So first thing we're going to do is come down to hit points here. So for our cleric, we're going to be a D8 hit die as usual for our clerics. We're going to get a 1, and then our current hit points are going to be 10 because we're going to take that 8, which is that biggest number on the die, and we're going to add 2 from our constitution, giving us that 10 hit points. Now we're going to go down to our proficiencies next, like usual. I forget to put in passive perception every time, but it's going to be 13 because if we go up here right now, our perception is currently a +3. So we take that 10 and we add 3 to give us a passive perception, 10 being the average roll on a die. So armor proficiencies, we're going to be proficient here in light armor. Oops, if I can spell, medium armor and shields to start with. And then we're also going to be getting simple weapons for our weapons. But then we could actually get more different types. But for now, we're going to leave it as simple weapons because depending on our race, again, that can change what we can get here. Dwarfs get more weapons. And depending on the particular domain you pick, you can get more weapons as well. But we're going to leave it like that for now. For tools, we don't get anything, so we're just going to leave it blank. We're going to come back up to the top here, if I can get my mouse to cooperate, and we're going to go on to saving throws. So for saving throws, we actually get proficiency in wisdom and charisma, so we're going to hit those bubbles, and we're going to put a 5 here, and we're going to put a +2 here. That +2 obviously coming from the proficiency bonus. I say obviously, it's not that obvious for our new players, but that proficiency is +2, and the reason why that is because at level 1, proficiency bonus is always +2, no matter what character you're playing. So that's where that comes from. Next, we're going to come down to skills. Now we can pick 2 skills from history, insight, medicine, perception, persuasion, and religion, not perception. So I think I'm going to pick insight. So we're going to find insight on here. I like insight because it allows us to be able to read people in certain social situations. And then I think I'm going to go with medicine because medicine, I want this to be a very Healy type cleric. This is going to be a cleric who is really looking to keep everybody alive and in the fight and is really looking to, use that positive energy to keep everybody around. So we're going to be proficient in medicine as well. Now, let's see here. We're going to go down to equipment next because that's the next thing on the list. If you look in the player's handbook, I'm kind of going in order, and that's why I go in this particular order every time. So the next thing on the list is equipment. We get to choose between scale mail, leather armor, or chainmail if we're proficient in it. So right now it says we're not proficient in heavy armor, but I know we're going to be because I've picked our domain ahead of time. So I'm actually going to add this over here so that way you guys aren't confused. I'm going to put heavy armor. And like I said, it's going to be because we're going to be picking a certain domain, and I will show you what that domain is here in a second. I'm going to pick chainmail. That's the reason why I'm telling you guys this, is because I'm picking chainmail because I want that big boost. The next thing that we're going to pick is going to have to be a choice between a light crossbow with 20 bolts or any simple weapon. We're going to just choose the light crossbow right now because that just seems to be easiest for me. Just for the sake of this video, it just makes it a lot easier. And then we're also going to be able to choose between a priest pack and explorer's pack. I'm going to pick an explorer's pack. I'm going to say that this guy used to be an acolyte in a specific church or temple, and while he may have been an acolyte there, he also has understanding that I'm going out into a dangerous world and I'm going to need more than just my typical standard holy stuff. And then the last thing we actually get is a holy symbol, which is actually going to be our spell focus. So I'm actually going to put SF in parentheses so that way you guys know that. And then we're also going to get a shield, which is great. All right, so now we're going to figure out our armor class. So one thing I do want to put down here somewhere, and I'm going to put it over here, is because we're wearing chainmail, we are going to have disadvantage on stealth checks. Just because we're wearing really heavy, clunky armor, we're going to have disadvantage on those stealth checks. But the reason why we're in this chainmail is because chainmail by itself gives you a base armor class of 16. Which is pretty good. It's actually really good. It's better than any base armor that you can get as far as like the base of what the armor gives you. Now you cannot add your dexterity modifier to this. However, we are also wielding a shield, which we can use. So that means our armor class is going to be 18 at first level, which is huge. That's actually really big. It's actually a really good, strong armor class to have at first level. One thing to note, however, about chainmail is that we do have to have a strength score of at least 13 in order to be able to wear chainmail, which is why I made sure that we had a pretty good strength score here, but also just because I wanted to hit things pretty good. So if we go over here to initiative, I'm going to plug that in right now. It's going to be a +1 from our dexterity, and because we're human, we move 30 feet. That's just the way it goes. All right, we're going to come down here. Looks like I did forget one thing, the weapon, the main weapon that the character's going to get. So we actually get to choose between a mace or a warhammer. I'm going to get mace because the warhammer has the stipulation that you have to be proficient in it. We're not proficient in warhammers. Warhammers are a martial weapon, maces are not. So that's why we're going to pick the mace here. All right, so now we're going to come up here and we're going to put the mace, which we forgot about before. And then we're also going to put our light crossbow. Our attack bonus is going to be a +4. Now that's going to be because it's going to derive its attack bonus to hit from our strength score here, which is going to be an ability modifier of +2. And because we are proficient in simple weapons, we can add this proficiency bonus of +2 to give us a +4. The light crossbow, on the other hand, is only going to give us a +3 because we only have a +1 modifier over here under dexterity. Light crossbows do use your dexterity bonus to fire, so something to consider. Our damage is going to be 1d6 plus 2 bludgeoning damage. So 1d6 plus 2 bludgeoning. And then we're going to also get that crossbow is going to be 1d8 plus 1 piercing damage. So not too bad. However, we are going to have a lot harder time hitting. On average, we're probably going to come in with a mace, depending on the situation, but that's basically what we're looking for there. Also at level 1, we're going to get spellcasting. So like the bard, we're going to get some spellcasting, but it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be casting our spells, like I said, via the devotion and the blessings that we've given to us by our deity. We're also going to get access to our entire spell list, which is really cool. However, the way the the way the cleric works is a little bit different. So we're actually going to come down here, all the way down to the spellcasting area, which is page 3. Page 2, I've glossed over it before. Not really. I've just kind of gone over it. But this is actually an area where you put like role-playing kind of stuff, like if you had any backstory, or if you want to put down all your treasure, or, you know, age, height, weight, etc., etc. It's a good place for that there. So back down to spellcasting. We're going to be Cleric 1. Our spellcasting ability is going to be Wisdom. Our spell save DC is going to be derived from 8 plus our proficiency bonus plus our spellcasting ability modifier. So 8 plus 2 plus 3 is going to give us 13 as our spell save DC. This is the number that our opponents are going to have to hit if we ask them to roll a saving throw in order to save from the spells that we are trying to attack them with. And then our spell attack bonus, if we're trying to use a target spell that's going to go after one creature, and the spell asks for a roll to a hit for our spell, is going to be a +5. And this is going to be derived from our proficiency bonus, because we're proficient in our spells, and our spellcasting ability modifier. So like I said, we do have access to all of our spells on our spell list, with the exception of cantrips. We do have to pick our cantrips at the beginning. Right now, at level 1, we do know 3 cantrips, so I'm going to put 3 known. And then we're going to come down here. The number of spell slots we're going to have is going to be 2 at first level. And then we have to know how many spells that we're going to prepare. So, like I said, clerics are a little bit different. So they have access to their whole spell list, but they have to decide what spells they're going to prepare at the beginning of each adventuring day. So when we long rest, we get to pick our spells, and we put them down here. And then say we long rest, and we wake up again the next morning, we can change the spells again. And we can pick them from anything on our spell list, provided that we have a level of that spell to cast at, a spell slot level to cast it at. So right now we can only pick 4 first level spells. And the reason why I say 4 is what we can prepare is because we actually derive that number from our wisdom modifier plus our cleric level. So we have a wisdom modifier of 3, and our cleric level is 1. So we can prepare 4 spells at level 1. Now, in order to cast our spells, similar to the bard, we're going to need a spellcasting focus. Now, for the bards, we were using a musical instrument like the lute or the drum, but in this case, we're actually going to be using our holy symbol, because we are a holy character class. We are a character class that relies on religion and our worship in order to be able to elicit our power, so it only makes sense to use our holy symbol. Now, with that said, our holy symbol could also be on our shield if we decided to play it that way. And talk to your DM if you want to allow, if they're going to allow that. But for the most part, you're going to have a holy symbol, whether it be a necklace around your neck. You can make this holy symbol whatever you want it to be. So like I said, a necklace, a ring, whatever you want it to be, something that's on your body, so that way you can cast spells whenever you need to. Now, in addition to needing that spellcasting focus, depending on the situation for spells, if we have a spell component that requires a gold cost, we're going to need that one. Basically, if you need any more information about how to cast spells in Magic, I will make sure that I put a link to the Magic video either somewhere down the description, or I'll try to maybe get it up here. I'm still very new to how to put links to videos in YouTube, so forgive me on that. But then the other thing that we need to know about is that we do get ritual casting. So ritual casting is interesting because it allows you to cast a spell without expending a spell slot, provided you have the spell prepared, and provided that you cast that spell over the course of 10 minutes. So a spell like Detect Magic can be used as a ritual. As long as you sit down for 10 minutes and cast that spell, you don't use a spell slot, but you still get the effect of that spell to happen. So it's pretty nice. So the last thing we have to do is pick one very important thing, which we have to pick at first level, and that's why I didn't bring it up over here, is actually going to be our domain. We're actually going to pick the life domain, and think of this as kind of like your subclass for your character. And basically this is kind of the way it flavors to basically like morph in the kind of character that you're looking to play. So for our character, it's the life domain. So we're going to have a god or a religious figure that's going to be very much about preserving life and happiness and a very positive energy. And that's kind of the god that we're going to be looking to worship in this. There's plenty of them. You can look them up. Some of them are in the DM's guide if you have that, or you can kind of look up on a quick web search to figure out what kind of Dungeons and Dragons particular god or pantheon would kind of fit this domain. So we're going to pick the life domain. Like I said, I'm not going to get into the other ones, but we're going to pick the life domain at level 1. And because of this choice in the life domain, we actually do get proficiency in heavy armor. So that's why I didn't go over it before, just because I didn't want to have there be any, I mean, there might have been a little bit of confusion, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew that we have heavy armor. I'm going to pick the heavy armor, and that's because of the order I went through. So we are going to get heavy armor proficiency. I will put that here. Heavy Armor Prof. Perfect. And then the other thing is we're also going to get 2 spells, to actually prepare for free. So in addition to the 4 spells that we get to prepare as part of our preparation for each day, we also get 2 because of our domain. And those are going to be Cure Wounds and Bless. Are always prepared. I'll even put always prepared. So if we come down to the spellcasting section again, I will still leave 4 prepared, but then I will put AP just so that way you guys understand. Bless, Cure Wounds. So at first level, we basically have 6 prepared spells. 2 of them don't change, but we get 4 that we can fiddle with whatever way we want to kind of make our cleric the way we want him to be. Or her, whatever the case may be. The last thing we're going to get as part of level 1, specifically because of our domain. Now remember, this is a domain feature, not a cleric feature, and I want to make that clear. If you choose a different domain at level 1 from the player's handbook, this is going to change. But because we are a life domain cleric, we are going to get the Disciple of Life character trait. And basically this ability, it allows us to better make our spells that heal a little bit more potent. So basically what it does is if we say we cast Cure Wounds on one of our allies or a healing word, we roll that d8, and what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 plus, let's see if I can get this right, 2 plus, nope, plus our spell level. So I'll put spell level. I'm sorry about moving the mouse there a little bit, but 2 plus spell level to all healing spells. So what that means is that if we cast Cure Wounds at level 1, we roll an 8 on that die, and then we get to add 3 because we're adding the 2 plus the 1 because it's a first level spell slot we're using. That means we're healing for 11 hit points. If we cast Cure Wounds at level 2, let's say we roll 2 8s. We're doing really well. That means we got 16 on the roll, and we're adding 2 for 18, and then we're adding 2 more because we casted that spell at 2nd level. So that means we're healing for 20 hit points. A possibility of 20 hit points. So basically this Disciple of Life ability is going to allow us to basically add more hit points to any of our healing spells in order to be able to make us a better healer, which is important. Now, to clarify, this is only really going to be on these are going to be on any spells that we cast. So if we do cast on ourselves, it's going to help. But specifically, if we're going to use this particular spell, either on an ally or ourselves, we're going to add this hit points to those dice rolls for the healing that we're going to be producing. So, with all that being said, again, like I said, Disciple of Life, domain feature, not a specifically cleric base class feature. That's why I wanted to make sure we went over this, and I didn't want to get into any of the other domains because this is going to change things. And like I said, base cleric does not have heavy armor. So remember that, base cleric does not have heavy armor. That's why it's here on this life domain proficiency kind of list here, and then we also get this Disciple of Life ability. Now, with all of that being said, we are ready to go. We do have everything we need. We don't have a background like usual. We will have to pick a background. You can actually pick priest, or I believe there's an acolyte background you can pick, but we didn't put it here because, again, I want to just show what the base cleric looks like. You will have to pick a background before you take this sheet to your table, just so you guys understand that. So make sure you pick a background before you take this to your table, and then we can play with this. So that's basically it for this first level character sheet. Now we're going to get off the computer and go over the rest of the cleric. All right, so now that we know what a cleric looks like at first level, we can go over the level progression. So at 2nd level, the cleric gets one of their main abilities known as Channel Divinity. And the one thing that clerics all get, no matter their domain, is the use of Turn Undead as part of their Channel Divinity. What Turn Undead does, it allows you to actually use your action to present your holy symbol. And when you do so, you actually cause all undead creatures around you within 30 feet. They'll have to make a wisdom saving throw. This wisdom saving throw is going to be a difficulty check of whatever your spellcasting difficulty check is. So for our first level cleric from before, it's going to be 13. But depending on your cleric, it might be higher or lower. So spell save DC is going to be also your Channel Divinity save DC. And what this is going to do is if they fail that wisdom save, they're all going to be turned for 1 minute. So what turned means is they're actually going to have to spend their entire turn running away from you. They can't come closer. They actually have to get as far away from you as quickly as possible. So this is helpful if you're being surrounded by a horde of skeletons and you need to get out of there and you need to find a way. You turn undead, hopefully you get most of them away from you, you pick off any of the ones remaining, and you get the heck out of there, which is going to be very beneficial. At level 6, we're actually going to get 2 uses of this Channel Divinity, and at 18, we're going to get, at level 18, excuse me, we're going to get 3 uses. So it's going to be very important, especially in the early stages, to make sure we know when to pick and choose when to use this Channel Divinity feature of Turn Undead, or a different one, which we'll get into. But they just do recharge on a short or long rest. So depending on when you rest, it's going to recharge. But you still want to be very picky about when you use this Channel Divinity. At level 5, we're going to actually get Destroy Undead. So at level 5, our Channel Divinity of Turn Undead is going to get a little bit better. And basically what's going to happen is when you use Turn Undead, if any of those creatures are going to be at a certain challenge rating or less, they're just going to be instantly destroyed. They're just going to pop. They're going to just go right down immediately, which is really nice because, again, if you're surrounded by hordes of skeletons, this could come in real handy. So at level 5, if a creature is CR or challenge rating, which Dungeon Masters know what those are, and basically they just are a gauge of how strong or weak a monster is. If they're a challenge rating of 1/2 or lower, they're going to be instantly destroyed at level 5. This does change though, however. So at level 8, the challenge rating goes up to level challenge rating 1. At level 11, challenge rating 2. At level 14, challenge rating 3. And challenge rating 4 at level 17. So our Destroy Undead is going to get better as we go. At level 10, the clerics get their biggest ability that's actually going to progress and become their penultimate ability at level 20. And at level 10, it's called Divine Intervention. And so what this is that as an action, we can roll our percentile dice to try to evoke the blessings of our deity. And what this basically does is if we roll a percentile dice that's equal to or less than our cleric level, so in the case of level 10, 10 or less, that cleric is going to come down and they're going to intervene in whatever's happening, whether it be you're being overwhelmed by a group of individuals, or maybe you're trying to solve a puzzle and you can't figure it out. The deity is going to come down and intervene, whether it be via the use of any cleric spell that's on the cleric spell list. And this is all up to DM discretion how much intervention the deity gets involved in. But basically, the divine is going to intervene on what happens. Now, assuming this works, you can't use it again for 7 days. However, obviously right now, the chances of it happening at level 10 are pretty small. It's about 1 in 10. So, makes sense. But at level 20, divine intervention automatically succeeds. So having an idea of what those 7 days are going to be very important, because divine intervention is a really powerful ability, and we need to make sure that we're not over abusing it, because again, it's a huge, huge blessing that we're going to get from our deity that's going to help us out in a really sticky situation. But also, we don't want to use it on something frivolous and silly and then really need it 3 days later, but we can't use it because our deity's already intervened. All right, so let's talk about divine domains really quickly. Like I said, we're not going to go over every single one of them, but I'm just going to mention them all here while I have the chance to do so. And they are, in the Player's Handbook for 5th edition, Knowledge, Light, Nature, Tempest, Trickery, and War, in addition to Life domain that we talked about before. Now, I will break down the life domain just so you have a good example and of a good taste of what these domains are going to give you, but just know that there are other domains that are going to give you different benefits, and we've kind of already gone over some of the benefits of the life domain, but we're going to go over the rest, but again, just to give you some flavor. So the life domain clerics get a number of different benefits that basically focus on giving positive life-giving energy, which is why they get Bless and Cure Wounds at level 1 for their prepared automatic spells. They also will get more prepared automatic spells as they progress. So at level 3, they're going to get Lesser Restoration and Spiritual Weapon. They're going to get Beacon of Hope and Revivify at level 5. They're also going to get Death Ward and Guardian of Faith at level 7. And then they're also going to get Mass Cure Wounds and Raise Dead at level 9. So again, a lot of healing, revivifying, positive energy that we're going for here with the life domain clerics is what's going to happen here. Again, other domains are going to have a different list entirely, but that's what the cleric for the life domain gets. We also get that heavy armored proficiency and that Disciple of Life ability that we talked about when we went over the character sheet. At level 2, we're actually going to get another Channel Divinity power. So in addition to Turn Undead like we talked about before, we're also going to get another Channel Divinity power from specifically our domain. Now this is going to be different for every domain. Got it? Got it. All right. So for our Channel Divinity for our life domain clerics, we're going to get Preserve Life. So Preserve Life, what that's going to do is going to allow us to present our holy symbol as an action and evoke a bunch of healing magic for our party. So we're going to be able to heal a number of HP equal to 5 times our cleric level. So at level 2, it's going to be 10 hit points. And we can distribute this amongst creatures within 30 feet. Typically your allies. You don't want to give it to your enemies, but and you don't have to give it to your enemies. Don't worry about that. You don't have to use all of them, but you're going to distribute this HP amongst your allies, but this HP cannot go beyond the half of their maximum HP level. So What this channel divinity is for is so that way if you're in a real dire straits, you're all really hurt, you're all really weak, and you really need that one extra boost to give you enough HP to get through the fight, that's where this Preserve Life channel divinity is going to come forth for you, and it's going to be a real lifesaver for you, because it's going to be able to give everybody some HP, just a little bit of that pool, in order to keep everybody in the fight. At level 6, we're actually going to get Blessed Healer, again, life domain specific. Yep, got it. Okay. When we heal a creature, we are also now going to heal. So remember how I talked about the Disciple of Life ability on the character sheet? Basically, this is Disciple of Life for us. So anytime we heal anybody, we're going to add 2 plus our spell's level in HP to ourselves. So let's say we roll 1d8 and we heal 11 to one of our party members, we're also going to heal 3. Which is great. That's more HP. It's going to keep us alive, so that way our fellow players don't have to worry so much about keeping us alive, because we're going to do it ourselves, luckily. Now, again, this is at level 6, so in the beginning, we're still going to need some help. But coming up, like, once we get to level 6 and beyond, it's going to help us a lot, which is going to be really, really nice, because then we're going to heal ourselves and we're going to heal others. At level 8, we're going to get Divine Strike. And what Divine Strike is going to do is it's actually going to infuse our weapon with Divine Energy, and it's going to allow us to add a D8 radiant damage to any of our weapon attacks when we hit a creature once on our turn. So if we get multi-attack somehow, whether it be through multi-classing or something like that, then one of our attacks, the first one that hits, is going to get that 1d8 radiant damage. This d8 is actually also going to increase to 2d8 at level 14, so it's just a little more extra punch with some radiant damage. Depending on what you're fighting, if you're fighting skeletons, this could be really helpful. If you're fighting other undead creatures, some of them might or may not be sensitive to radiant damage. You'll find out over the course of your campaign whether or not they are, but we're going to have some of this extra damage. And then at level 17, we're going to get the Capstone ability for our Life Domain Clerics, and it's actually going to be an ability known as Supreme Healing. With this, when you normally roll a dice for a spell to roll HP, instead of rolling the dice, you're actually going to just get the highest number possible. So if we have to roll a d8 for our Cure Wounds, it's just 8. We don't have to roll it. It's just going to be 8. If we roll 2d8 because we cast that Cure Wounds at second level, it's going to be 16. We don't have to roll it. It's automatically 16. In addition, we're also going to be adding on that Disciple of Life stuff, so we're going to be adding 3 to that. We're going to be adding, 3 or 4 respectively for first and second level, and then we're also going to be healing ourselves. So there's a really important reason why we get the Supreme Healing though at level 17, because think about it. If we're up at that high level, we're going to be taking a ton of damage. We're going to need a ton of healing because we're going to be fighting against really big, strong, nasty things. We're going to need that healing. And for the Life Domain Cleric, remember, Life Domain Cleric ability, we're going to get a really nice extra punch to all of our healing spells. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Cleric in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. If you have any questions about the Cleric, whether it be the Divine Domains or anything else about the Cleric as a player, as a DM, or anything else Dungeons & Dragons in general, leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer. Speaking of questions, there's a pretty good chance if you ask a question down there, I'm probably going to answer it in later videos and down there in the comment section. So if you want to see the latest videos on this channel that are going to answer your questions and give you the information you need, make sure you like the video and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that way you're up to date on everything coming out for the channel. Also, the other thing I want to get down in the comment section there is actually feedback on the channel, whether it be here on this video, on other videos, whatever the case may be. I love feedback. It tells me that you either like what's going on with the channel or you don't like what you're seeing on the channel, because I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best experience possible. I want to be, I want to be entertaining. I want to be educational. I want to be informative, but I also want to make sure that you guys are engaged with what's going on. I want to make sure you guys are entertained by what's going on, because the last thing I want to do is just be a boring dictionary definition of everything Dungeons & Dragons, and then you guys are just going to get bored with me after 2 minutes. So let me know what I need to do and improve. Put that down in the comment section. This video, other videos, direct message me on Instagram, whatever the case may be. Get that information to me. I'll be more than glad to take your feedback, figure out ways to make it so that way you guys are getting the experience that you guys need. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions, again, comment section. And until next time, I'll see you all soon.